It's the car that defined 1950s America. Bold fins, chrome everywhere, and a name that still turns heads. The 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air. More than just a pretty face, the Bel Air was a symbol of power, style, and engineering ambition. It was the kind of car that made a statement, even when parked. Here are 8 shocking secrets about the 1957 Chevy Bel Air. One of the most luxurious and surprising features of the 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air wasn't under the hood. It was on the outside, gleaming for all to see. The V-shaped emblems on the hood and trunk, the front grille, and other exterior trim pieces on higher-end Bel Air models weren't painted gold like many assume. Instead, Chevrolet used a process called anodizing on aluminum trim, giving it a deep, metallic gold finish that was both durable and eye-catching. This wasn't just for flair, it was a bold marketing move. Chevrolet wanted the Bel Air to stand out as a premium offering in a fiercely competitive market. Gold trim signified that you weren't just buying a car, you were buying status. Most competitors were still using basic chrome and silver finishes. The Bel Air didn't just shine, it sparkled like a crown jewel, making it one of the flashiest factory cars of the 1950s. In an era when most cars didn't even have seatbelts, the 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air offered a feature that many luxury cars wouldn't standardize for decades: automatic headlight dimming. Known as the Autronic Eye, this system used a photoelectric sensor mounted on the dashboard to detect the headlights of oncoming traffic and lower your high beams accordingly, without the driver lifting a finger. It wasn't just a gimmick, it was a serious step toward driver convenience and road safety at night. While the system had its limitations, occasional false triggers from street lamps or reflective signs, it was a bold example of Chevrolet pushing boundaries. Few cars in the 50s offered anything like this. For a mass-market car in 1957, this kind of tech wasn't expected, but it was there, quietly working behind the wheel. In 1957, Chevrolet introduced a feature on the Bel Air that most drivers today take completely for granted: tubeless tires. It was the first Chevrolet ever to come standard with them. At the time, most cars still used inner tube tires, which were prone to sudden blowouts if punctured, a common and dangerous problem, especially at highway speeds. Tubeless tires completely changed the game. They were safer, more durable, and could often hold air even after a nail puncture, giving drivers time to stop. This technology drastically reduced roadside accidents and was considered cutting edge in the 1950s. What's truly shocking is how ahead of its time this feature was. While Chevrolet rolled it out on the Bel Air in '57, some competitors didn't catch up until years later. Combine that with the Bel Air's already advanced suspension and power options, and you had a car that wasn't just stylish, it was engineering forward in a way few people realize today. In 1957, if you were buying a Chevrolet Bel Air and wanted more than just good looks, there was one option that stood out: the Power Pack. For just $135 extra, you could transform your everyday cruiser into a serious performer. What did that small investment get you? A 4-barrel carburetor, dual exhaust, and a higher compression ratio, all working together to bump output from the base 162 HP to an impressive 220 horsepower. That may not sound wild by today's standards, but in the late 50s, that was real muscle, especially in a car that still had room for 5 white-wall tires and a radio. This wasn't just a sporty trim. The Power Pack made the Bel Air a sleeper hot rod. Subtle on the outside, serious under the hood. No stripes, no hood scoops, no noise. Just raw, unexpected speed. Chevy gave buyers performance without bragging, and many who checked that Power Pack box never looked back. On the street or the strip, this option gave the Bel Air real teeth. By the mid-1950s, most American cars still relied on outdated 6-volt electrical systems. They worked, barely, but were often plagued by dim headlights, weak starters, and poor cold-weather performance. Chevrolet changed that in 1957 by giving the Bel Air a standard 12-volt system. It wasn't flashy like tail fins or gold trim, but it made a world of difference. Headlights were brighter, engine cranks were stronger, and accessories like radios and power windows became more reliable. The shift also allowed for the future integration of higher-powered features, including electric wipers, better ignition systems, and eventually air conditioning. What makes this upgrade so significant is how quietly it reshaped the driving experience. While most buyers noticed the style first, they soon appreciated how much smoother and more dependable the Bel Air felt, thanks to a simple yet forward-thinking change under the hood. It's a reminder that innovation doesn't always scream for attention. Sometimes it just works. You wouldn't expect to find air suspension on a 1957 Chevrolet, but it was there. Offered as an optional feature, the system was called Level Air, and it was a bold step toward ride comfort and height control long before it became common in luxury vehicles. Instead of traditional coil or leaf springs, Level Air used compressed air-filled rubber bags at each wheel, controlled by an onboard compressor. The idea? Maintain a consistent ride height regardless of passengers or cargo, and deliver a smoother, more balanced driving experience. It sounded like space-age magic in the 50s, and in some ways it was. But there was a catch. The system was expensive, complicated, and notoriously unreliable. Many owners who opted for it had it removed or replaced with conventional springs within a few years. Still, Chevrolet was clearly reaching for the future. Today, air suspension is standard on many luxury SUVs and sports sedans, but the Bel Air had it nearly 70 years ago. It was innovation, just slightly ahead of its time. In 1957, Chevrolet didn't just sell a car, they gave buyers a catalog of choices under the hood. The Bel Air could be ordered with a staggering 13 different engine combinations, something almost unheard of at the time for a mainstream vehicle. At the low end, you had the reliable 235 cubic inch inline six, perfect for everyday cruising. But for those who wanted more excitement, Chevy opened the floodgates. Buyers could choose from multiple versions of the 265 and 283 cubic inch V8s, ranging from mild two-barrel setups to high-compression, four-barrel power pack variants. The crown jewel? The 283 V8 with Rochester ramjet fuel injection, an advanced system that pushed performance to the cutting edge. That engine made up to 283 horsepower, setting a record of 1 horsepower per cubic inch. It's hard to believe, but the 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air, now considered one of the most iconic American cars ever built, wasn't the best-selling car of its time. In the fierce sales battle of 1957, Ford actually outsold Chevrolet. While Chevy moved around 1.56 million units that year, including the Bel Air, 210, and 150 models, Ford edged them out with fresher styling and aggressive marketing. It may have lost the sales crown in 1957, but it won the cultural war forever.